That was great, Camille. You will now hear from Curran Stockton explaining the change in communication over the centuries.
We all know this sound, the iconic click of the Apple product keyboard. While many of you audience members out here may be owners of Android, Samsung, BlackBerry, or any other variety of phone, I'm very confident that almost everyone here has heard this sound at one point or another. We hear it in our day-to-day lives, sending texts, tweets, emails, posts, chats, and even phone calls to friends and family. Cell phones are used to communicate, something that started simply to get ideas from one mind to another. Those ideas be deep philosophical thoughts or simply another tweet on your Twitter page. But communication wasn't always so technology-based, and my talk this evening goes into the elements of this change and how it was so drastic over such a small period of time. Apple Incorporated CEO and entrepreneur Steve Jobs once said that things don't have to change the world to be important, when the reality is, his most widely known product, the iPhone, changed the face of digital communication and face-to-face communication alike, and ironically enough, it's now one of the most important devices a typical summer teenager or trendy suburban parent could own. To establish a baseline, long before the click of an iPhone came the gentle scratching of pen on paper. The following letter, written by soldier William F. Testerman to his lover, Miss Jane Davis, during the trying times of the Civil War, is a stellar demonstration of what beauty communication once had. An excerpt of the letter reads, "Though we are far apart at present, my heart is with you every moment, for I often think of you when you are asleep, when traveling the lonesome roads. The thought of your sweet smiles is all the company I have, and I trust that you are sincere in what you wrote to me. Your rosy red cheeks and sparkling blue eyes has gained my whole affections, and I hope for the time to come when we shall meet again." This man was one of many in combat with the equivalent of a 5th grade education, if not maybe even lower, and putting the horrendous spelling and grammatical errors aside, the great eloquence and maturity of the words within this letter far surpassed that of any soldier letter home today, let alone words in day-to-day communication. The time and effort put into writing this was evident, and this kind of effort going into talking to another person is completely unheard of in today's world. Communication took a turn for the efficient in 1838 when the telegraph grew into a nationwide necessity and Samuel Morse's introduction to the public with Morse code. As people began to pick up Morse code, long and in-depth letters were traded in for short and straightforward notes, which were a prelude to text messages today. While many may have predicted that communication would transform from right there into something as simple as text messages, written expression was saved in 1868 with the invention of the typewriter. Although the tapping of a typewriter has long since been used in our day-to-day lives, many of us here could probably recognize one upon seeing it, and generations of authors and other globally known intellects created some of their best works from typewriters. Ernest Hemingway, the brilliant man behind The Old Man and the Sea and A Farewell to Arms, used a typewriter himself, and just last July, one of his many typewriters was auctioned off for $65,000. Another famous author, Jack Kerouac's typewriter, recently sold for $22,000, and one of them is currently in a Museum of American History in Massachusetts. Take into account that a modern-day equivalent to Hemingway or Kerouac would be someone like John Grisham, and his old MacBook, I'm sure, has much less sentimental value. Probably because people are more reluctant to throw out their typewriters than they are to upgrade their new MacBooks. That's not to say he's a poor writer, but perhaps the authors worth remembering through centuries are those who did more than just open up a Word document and type away. But why? Why are the clicks of a typewriter deemed more valuable than that of a MacBook? Perhaps it is because of the extra effort needed to use one. I know that a few of you here are very familiar with typewriters from your youth, hence are well aware of the little room for error that comes in using a typewriter. And for those of you not as familiar, I have some news for you. Unlike a trusty iMac, a typewriter is not equipped with delete keys, causing users to carefully deliberate upon every stroke at risk of starting over due to any grammatical error or mistakes. And long gone are the days when people put more of an effort into putting sophisticated ideas to paper, as today's prime communication is done through effortless and efficient text messages, which require minimal thought, if any. Let's analyze this soldier's email home in today's world as opposed to the soldier letter home from William F. Testerman. It reads, "Everything here is good. I'm doing good. I'm very thankful for having such a loving and caring family. I really can't wait to get home and see you all, and I really miss you so much. If it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to make it through all this, so thanks. Love, Holly." While Holly seemed to get a similar message across, she clearly didn't spend more than 20 seconds tops typing this into a computer. Not to say that we take love for granted nowadays, but there's clearly a drastic difference between the two messages home, and one seems much more effortless than the other. And maybe it's this generation's dependence on technology, maybe it's our mutated laziness, and maybe it's our ever-changing culture. Regardless, there has been a change in communication over the past few centuries that is certainly hard to miss, and it's our strive for efficiency in day-to-day communication. As said earlier, iPads and smartphones were quick to replace typewriters and telegraphs because, as we all know, Americans in today's world prefer to do as little work as physically possible for any given task. And even in the social media field, a simple click of a button or a double tapping of a photo on sites like Instagram and Facebook can say it all. The concept of the like button has revolutionized not only social media communication, but communication altogether with its broad range of possibilities. Although not every site is equipped with something of the like button's nature, the concept of being vague through communication is sweeping the universe and regressing our communication skills. A typical scenario in today's world for when someone loses a family member or a close friend is to post a status on their profile, probably elaborating on their sad emotions and feelings, and a little part of them is probably seeking some sort of sympathy from peers and relatives. As a result of their posting, they've probably reached their personal best at number of likes and comments, and most likely are supplied with a false sense of feeling better. As for the likers of this picture, they are in no way communicating any sense of condolence by clicking on a virtual button, nor are they probably pleased that their close friend has lost someone close to them. So, what exactly does the like button do? It can mean a wide variety of things, and it very accurately represents our communication skills today in the sense that people don't need to say a lot for others to know what we're saying. And back to the physical button. The number of likes one gets has become a top priority for teenagers with media accounts open today, and some are even willing to purchase these virtual likes so that their profiles appear more popular than others. Yes, that's right. Today, several people across the globe are going to be using websites such as Buzzoid and BoostLikes.com, paying anywhere between $22 and $1,200 simply to make their account profiles appear more popular than others. And welcome to 2014, everyone, where a number on a fake profile has become a higher priority to students than an actual social status among classmates. Not only has expression changed, but the world of communication has been transformed along with it. With all of this new technology comes this lost art of listening, as we began to fail to listen to what others are saying. An article titled "The Lost Art of Listening" by an internet blogger, Joy on Board, perfectly describes what communication has been molded into, and according to her, a typical conversation in today's world sounds something like this. Kelly, my back is no better since my surgery. Dave to Kelly, oh, my back hurts every day. I think at some point that I might need surgery, and I wake up every morning think that I might not be able to make it through my day. Lynn to no one in particular, oh please, my back made my trip to Greece more of a pain in my neck. Sound familiar? As this article has more accuracy than not, we have not only lost our ability to have any sort of intimacy in our communication, but also our ability to have empathy for others' misery. And we've actually come to find others' misfortune a laughing matter. I'm sure that you all can remember Kate's speech on Schadenfreude, and I'm almost positive that you all saw that video she showed of that ridiculous fall. Well, what you probably did not know is that that little klutz up there was me. Yes, who's laughing now? Oh, and I'm fine. Thanks for all the concern. Thank you. All joking aside, this lack of empathy we have developed over the past few centuries is not only taking its toll on our personal morale, but on our communication skills as well. And with sites like Facebook becoming the core of our communication, we have Ivy League graduates capable of perspicacious writing with their great intelligence in many degrees, putting things like, "Happy anniversary, babe, love you," on their Facebook, rather than writing their spouse a lengthy letter of devotion. Communication has obviously been regressing since the days of the Civil War letters, and that's saying something since most partaking in the Civil War had wooden teeth and a complete inability to spell. The big question, however, is regression all bad? Sure, we started from the language of the cavemen and continued to progress until the level of the Civil War, and everything seemed to go downhill from there. But this hindering of ours through communication may actually be leading us towards a greater era of motive expression. I'm sure that many of you can easily recall the 1970s great adventure attraction, Lightning Loops. And for those of you who don't know, allow me to explain. This is a roller coaster at Great Adventure where riders head up a long winding metal staircase to reach the top of the ride. They're strapped into a cart and go and descend down into one loop motion and hit another peak of the ride. So, in theory, if our communication started from nothing and seems to be going back in that direction, it can just as easily take a backwards turn for the better. However, in the era of hashtag, selfie, and YOLO, I don't see that day coming anytime soon, so I suppose that we'll all have to settle for clicking. Thank you.